Fourth question. The fourth question is, what price Mr. A will be ready to pay for the security today? In a way that we are required to make the calculation of the P0. Now in the fourth part of the question, we are required to make the calculation of the current price of the security, that is P0. I just want any of you to tell me that how do we make the calculation of P0, and I just want all of you to give the answer as if the previous three questions have not been done, and you tell me the answer. That's how you should pursue to do answer of question number 4. Yeah, before I proceed further, just I want to know that in order to calculate P0, can I apply a formula like this? D1 divided by K minus C. Can I apply this formula? That is what I want to know. Correct answer. We understand that we cannot apply this formula for the purpose of calculation of the P0. Why? Because from end of year 1 onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate is not constant for perpetuity. The formula is correct, but we cannot apply it. Why? Because from end of year 1 onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate is not constant. So what happens at in this kind of question, when I say that in this kind of question, it means that I want to say that in a situation wherein growth rate for some number of years is different in comparison to perpetual growth rate. If at all we have a situation like this, then in that case, it is mandatory for us to prepare a cash flow series in order to make the calculation of the P0. In this type of situation, we have to prepare a cash flow series from an investor point of view, to find a P0. So in this kind of question, we don't have a choice but to prepare a cash flow series from an investor point of view, and present value of the future cash inflow is the price of the security. That is what we understand. Now my next question to you is that for how many years I have to prepare the cash flow series? I want you to tell me that for how many years I need to prepare the cash flow series. See, all answers are correct. We understand that we have to prepare the cash flow series from an investor point of view. Now for how many years we have to prepare the cash flow series? Answer for that is that you may prepare cash flow series for any number of years always P0 will be same. So basically over here we understand that say we may prepare the cash flow series for any number of years irrespective of the time period for which the cash flow series is prepared. Always P0 will be same. See, we already have done the working like this. You can see that say for the 5 years we have prepared the cash flow series, and with that say the P0 is calculated. It is 87.54. For 7 years the cash flow series is prepared, P0 is 87.52. For 2 years the cash flow series is prepared, price is 87.53. So friends, preparing the cash flow series for any number of years will always have the same P0. So over here there are no rules and regulations. Preferably, see, not mandatorily, preferably we should prepare the cash flow series for 5 years. That is the time period at which the growth rate is becoming constant for perpetuity, and 6th year onwards for perpetuity the growth rate is constant. So calculation of the P5 is simple. See, preparing the cash flow series even for 2 years will have the same answer. But you must have observed that say in that say there are certain complications that say we are facing. There are certain things for which we need to be very much careful. That is the reason say preferably we should prepare the cash flow series for 5 years in order to make the calculation of P0. Let us answer for the question. Answer for the fourth question, write down. In that, write down first point. In this question, comma, again we have to compute P0. Full stop. However, it has not been clarified that for what time period investor is going to hold a security. Full stop. Second point, apparently we apply following formula. P0 is equal to D1 divided by K minus E. However, this formula is not applicable However, this formula is not applicable because the growth rate is not constant for perpetuity. The growth rate is not constant forever, from end of year 1 onwards Full stop. Third point, from an investor point of view, we have to prepare a cash flow series comma present value of future cash inflow is P0. Full stop. We may prepare cash flow series for 2 years, comma 5 years, comma 7 years, or any other number of years full stop. Always P0 will remain same. Fourth point, preferably we should prepare a cash flow series for 5 years. Full stop. Time period by which growth rate becomes constant forever. Full stop. Hence, over here, we have to show presentation of answer as in question number 1. Full stop. Fifth question, in which there are 4 questions. So 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D. In question number 5A, the question is calculation of the P1. Try to do P1 answer on your own. I just give a small explanation to you for question number 5A, P1. In that, write down P1 means price of equity share at the end of year 1. Full stop. Try to do answer on your own. Now let us see how to make the calculation of the P1. There are 2 methods. The first method is like this. In my opinion, the first method is more logical, and as a student you should be having clarity with the first method. because the first method is what's always applicable irrespective of the any earlier working that we have done. So we understand that the first method will work out like this. It is end of year 1 to end of year 5. What is the amount of the cash inflow that you are going to receive has been calculated by us for end of year 1 to end of year 5. Now all of them have been discounted to year 0 to calculate the P0. Now instead of P0, listen carefully, we have to calculate the P1. Means price of the security if at all you buy the security at the end of the first year. How can we make the calculation? Listen carefully. We understand that say you purchase the security at the end of the first year. So we understand that say this becomes year 0 for the purpose of calculation of the P1. The second year cash flow will be discounted to the first year end. So this becomes year 1 cash flow. Third year cash flow will be discounted to the first year end. So this becomes the second year cash flow. Fourth year cash flow will be discounted again to the first year end. So this becomes the third year cash flow. Fifth year cash flow is discounted to the first year end. So this becomes year 4 cash flow. Like that, say year 1 to year 4, whatever you are going to receive will be discounted in present value term, and that is considered to be the P1. So listen carefully. It is year is column number 1. First year, second year, third year and fourth year. The amount of the cash flow. First year it is 13.23. Second year it is 15.21. Third year it is 17.49. Fourth year it is 20.11 plus 147.47. That comes to 167.58. And they are discounted to end of year 1. So friends, importantly for 25%, first year factor will be 0.8. Second year factor will be 64 paise. And so on, year 1 to year 4 factors will be applied to convert them into present value term to find P0. Right on answer? We'll make the calculation of the present value. Third year factor is 0.512. Fourth year factor is 0.4096. So next is a present value. So it is 13.23 into 0.80, 10.584. Second year 15.21 into 0.64, 9.73. 17.49 into 0.512, that is 8.95. 167.58 into 0.4096, 68.64. And that is the way the P1 will be calculated. So 10.58 plus 9.73 plus, so if 15.21 into 0.64, 9.73. So 10.58 plus 9.73 plus 8.95 plus 68.64, it comes to 97.90. Right on answer. Now there is a query from a student that, sir, can we apply a formula before I proceed with the second method? P1 is equal to D2 divided by KE minus C. That is a query like this. So just can anybody guide me? Let's say how to solve this question. Dear student, we understand that over here, again this formula cannot be applied. In order to apply this formula, the important condition is that second year end onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate has to be constant for perpetuity. Over here, at the end of the second year onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate is not constant. That is the reason, say, again for calculation of the P1, we have to prepare the cash flow series from investor point of view to find P, that is say price. चलो अभी 5B का आंसर अपने आप करो, फिर मैं, अच्छा सॉरी सर, वो मैं ऑल्टरनेटिव मेथड बताना भूल गया. The alternative method works like this. Everybody is requested to pay attention. Alternative method. Dear students, we understand something like this. P0 is equal to D1 plus P1 divided by 1 plus K. That is a simple formula. End of year 1, whatever the dividend, end of year 1, whatever the price that you are going to receive, they are discounted in present value term, and with that, so the P0 is found. We have to find basically the P1 value. So we understand that, say, we are required to rearrange the formula. P1 is equal to P0 into 1 plus K minus D1. As far as the P0 is concerned, you can see that, say, we already have found P0. It is 87.53. That is the P0. So what you can do, friends, it is 87.53 or 54, whatever you want to take, into 1.25 minus what is the dividend income at the end of the first year, 11 rupee 50 paise. So we understand that it is 87.54 into 1.25, so 109.43 minus 11 rupee 50 paise. So minus 11 rupee 50 paise. So what will happen over here? It is 109.43 minus 11.5. That is 97.93. That is the way we can make the calculation of the P1. P1 stands for price of equity share at the end of the first year. However, friends, over here, of course, you can understand, for the purpose of applying this method, you need to have the answer of P0. Because unless you have the answer of P0, for you doing this method is not possible. The first method which I have explained you is possible. Why? Because in that case, say you are required to generate the data, and with that, so the P1 can be calculated. Of course, in examination, you can do either of the method. Yeah, everybody is requested to pay attention for 2 minutes. Based on a query of a student, I would like to give you explanation for the logic of this formula. Understand, friends, like this. Friends, in an equilibrium situation, we always assume that the price of the security is going to give you the return as per the expectation of the investor. So P0 is what? 87.53 or 54. An investor who is purchasing the security is making investment of 87.53. This amount, on that, say he wants a return at the rate of 25%. So into 25% comes to 21.88. So the overall income that he desires is 21.88. I hope that everybody is following. Let's say the price at which the investor has made investment is 87.53. On that, he is expecting a return of 25%. So income that he is expecting is 21.88. From this, he is able to get the dividend income of 11.5. This is the dividend per share that say he is receiving. So the remaining amount, what is the remaining amount? That is 21.88 minus 10 rupee 50 paise. I'm sorry, 11 rupee 50 paise. 10 rupee 38 paise is supposed to be the increase in the price of the security so that investor will be able to get the return as he desires. So we have to add both of them. So adding both of them, it is 10.38 plus 87.53. It comes to 97.91. And that is what we understand is the price of equity share after 1 year. This is the logic. That why the price of the security is formed like this? Because on the investment of 87.53, whatever the income that you desire, out of that, say, certain portion of the income is like received by you in form of dividend, and the remaining is the amount that say you get in form of increase in the price of the security, and so that amount is added to P0 to compute the value of the P1. That is what we understand. So next, 5B, try to do on your own P3 calculation. Try to answer the question. Calculation of P3. Again, that can be calculated by two methods. Try to answer. Method number 1. Write an answer along with me. For P0 calculation, first year, second year, third year, fourth year and fifth year. Cash flow 11.5, 13.23, 15.21, 17.49, 20.11. Excuse me. 147.47. So 167.58. This is the way we may understand that. So the P0 is calculated. Now we have to find P3. Means you purchase the security at this point of time. This becomes your year 0. This becomes your end of year 1. And this becomes your end of year 2. Again, I hope that everybody is clear that we cannot apply the shortcut formula, because end of year 4 onwards for perpetuity the growth rate is not constant. That is the reason. So first year and second year cash flow discounting at 25% present value. So it is 17.49 plus 167.58. Discounting at 25%, first year factor is 0.8, second year factor is 0.64. So 17.49 into 0.8, that is 13.99. 167.58 into 0.64, 107.25. So 107.25 plus 13.99. So 121.24. That is the way the P3 can be calculated. Now if at all you want to compute the P3 with an alternative method, then in that case it can be computed like this. P2 is equal to, write an answer along with me, D3 plus P3 divided by 1 plus K. So we understand that so the P3 is equal to P2 into 1 plus K minus D3. What is the second year price? Friends, second year price has already been found by us. It is 109.16. So we understand that it is 109.16 into 1.25 minus third year dividend. What is the third year dividend, friends? Third year dividend is 15.21. With that, say we can calculate the answer. So 109.16 into 1.25. So 136.45 minus 15.21. So it is 121.24. That is the way the P3 can be calculated. The next is the calculation of the P4. Try to find answer on your own. P4. Calculation of P4. So you are purchasing the security at the end of the fourth year. So all these values will become irrelevant. We are purchasing the security at the end of the fourth year. So this becomes year 0 and this becomes end of year 1. So year 1 cash flow discounting at 25% and present value. So 167.58 into 0.8 134.06, and that is what we understand is P4. Next question is calculation of P6. Try to do P6 on your own. Next is P6. It can be calculated as D7 divided by K minus E. Now what is 7th year dividend? We understand it is D5 into 1 plus G raised to 2 divided by K minus E. 25% less 10%. What is 5th year dividend? It is 20.11 into 1.10 raised to 2 divided by 0.15. So the answer is 20.11 into 1.21, that comes to 24.3331 divided by 0.15, that is 162.22. That is the way we are required to find P6. Friends, we understand that say from P5 onwards, for any calculation directly this formula can be applied. Why? Because say from 6th year onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate is constant. So for P6 we can apply this formula. Why? Because 7th year onwards for perpetuity, the growth rate is constant. That is the reason. We can have application of this formula for P6. Sixth question. Ascertain what will be the optimum time for purchasing the share. So what is the best time to buy the security? Is it today, that is in year 0, or at the end of year 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or any other year? Which is the best time to buy the security? That is a question. So friends, over here I have written the things that we already have done it earlier. That is in this marathon question. The prices I have kept over here starting from year 0 to 7th year end, and the dividend I have mentioned from end of year 1 to end of year 7. The question says that what is the best time to buy the security? Means we can say that simply the question is that from an investor point of view, what is the best time to buy the security? so that investor will be able to get the maximum return. Am I correct that the question is like this only? Okay. Now how to solve this question, let us understand. We can say that over here, the answer of the question is that investor is indifferent whatever may be the point at which he is purchasing the security, because at any point of time he is purchasing the security, he will get the return equal to his cost of capital 25%. The answer is so simple like this, that investor is indifferent whatever may be the point at which he is purchasing the security, because every time the price of the security is adjusted so that investor will be able to get exactly 25% return. This is the answer. Let us see now the conceptually the answer. Verifying that whether my statement is correct or not. Suppose somebody is purchasing the security in year 0. Then in that case, what would be his return for holding the security for 1 year? We can say that his return will be 11.5 plus 97.90 minus 87.54 whole divided by 87.54 into 100 for getting answer in percentage term, and you will find that the return would be exactly 25%. Kindly check the answer. Means if at all you buy the security today and you hold it for 1 year, you'll find that the return is 25%. Suppose somebody is purchasing the security at the end of the 3rd year and he is holding the security for 1 year. Somebody purchasing the security at the end of the 3rd year and he is holding the security for 1 year. Let us see that what would be his return. We can say something like this, that it is again dividend is 17.49 plus 134.06 minus 121.24 whole divided by 121.24 into 100 for getting answer in percentage term. You'll find that the return would be exactly 25%. Check. If at all somebody is purchasing the security, let us say at the end of the 2nd year, and he is holding the security for, let us say 3 years, and he is selling the security at the end of the 5th year, then what will happen? I explain that to you. This is the price at which he will buy the security, that is 109.16. He will receive dividend of 15.21. He will receive dividend of 17.49. He will receive the dividend of 20.11. So it is 15.21, then 20.11. I'm sorry, 17.49. Then it is 20.11 plus 147.47. So 167.58. What I told you, that say he is purchasing the security at this point of time and he is holding till this point of time. So this is the price at which he buy the security. This is the dividend income, this is the dividend income, this is the dividend income, and so this is the price of the security. Now friends, for this cash flow series, year 0, year 1, year 2, year 3, of course for the purpose of return calculation. Friends, if at all you will make the calculation of the IRR, IRR would be exactly 25%. Yes, the return would be exactly 25% over here. What I want to tell you friends is this, that all the prices are calculated using the discounting factor 25%. So the return every time will be 25%. Let us answer the question now. Thank you. Investor S indifferent, comma, whatever may be the time period at which investor will buy security and sell security. Full stop. All prices are calculated. All prices are calculated using discounting rate of 25%, comma. So every time investor will get return of 25%.